Okay, there you go. I'm actually, okay, this is recorded. So, Assalamualaikum, good morning everyone again. This is basically our 5th class. Now we are actually going through some concepts of research methodology. Previously, you've been doing whatever you've been doing, activities online on Google Docs, on WhatsApp, with the Harzing or whatever database that you've been using. So those are actually practical. So most of the time, people will go with the concept first. And for me, I think to make it useful, instead of waiting at the very end to decide your topic and stuff, let's personalize it ahead of time, in which you decide your topic, your research topics ahead of time. And then as we go with the concept and theories and the content, then you can always relate to your research titles or research topic. Okay, so this is basically the second official concepts, in addition to all the primary textbooks that I've been sharing. So intro to evidence-based inquiry. I said part 1, part 2 means basically they are continuation. Research methodology, one course, that's good for a start, but then as you go the practical part, the project paper, the dissertation, the thesis, then even with the data collection, because this is all until chapter 3 only. 4 and 5, chapter 4 and 5, basically you are actually doing your data collection, your analysis and stuff. Then you'll experience all the ups and downs. Maybe whatever you planned for chapters 1 to 3, you might basically have a total overhaul of those. It happened to me. I drafted 5 times my PhD proposal. So no regrets. It just, the process of learning is ongoing. It's not that whatever I did, draft 1 to draft 4, those went to drain. No, they're still useful. I'm still using, every time I keep refining the draft, they are actually, I'm taking back from whatever I have from draft 1. It's getting better. Still, after I graduated, I think, okay, there are a lot of things that I can improve based on, after I graduated. This is normal, especially when you graduated later, especially those who are still in master, doing PhD later, then you say, okay, this is time, that's that one topic for master project paper, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Some people might say that. Okay. What is a research? Anybody just, have you ever done research before? In general, if you can speak, 1 or 2%, if you can share, it'd be great.
No, doctor.
Yeah, go ahead. Anybody, just intervene. This is just a brainstorm. What is research? Okay, Ayn said yes, she has done research. When did the last time that you do research?
Hello, doctor. Could you hear me?
Yes, Ayn. Yeah.
All right. For me, during degree,
Okay.
yeah.
This is about undergraduate research, which is a scholarly research. In last night, did you do research? Did you check what you need to buy on Shopee? Or did you go on like a gossip time, looking at the K-pop artists? What's new? Okay. So it can be research. I'm just saying in general there, but Ayn is relating straight to the the scholarly or empirical research. She's done that in during her undergraduate training. Okay, so research is anything that you search for and you are interested in. Okay, and when we talk about scholarly or academic-based research, we talk a lot of there are many theories, concepts within that big chunk of word. Research is general. It's very general, but then we are actually searching for evidence. We are interested in that topic. That's why we are researching into it. Okay, and of course, when relate to the topic earlier, introduction to evidence-based inquiry. You are inquiring something, but you have to support it with evidence. Okay, so today there are some related definitions. Some of them I will go deeper, some of them I will skim through, okay, because you have the slides, everything. But if you have any questions, we can we can discuss. Then this is the second bullet point here. You can see overview of research paradigm. That's the one that I asked you to look. One of the concepts that I asked for you to look in detail earlier is the research paradigm and the paradigm itself, because this one is the concepts that being always overlooked or people take it for granted. Okay, because whatever it is, the paradigm always relate to philosophical tenets or worldviews. Okay, we talk about if you remember, I don't know whether you have taken philosophy class, epistemology, all those Greek sound, word, epistemology, ontology, axiology, methodology, all with the logi and the logos. I think those who are teaching science also, you start with the definition of the logos and the logi. So just a second. Okay, so yeah, that the part that if I want you to look at, that's being overlooked. And sometimes in research you don't see people talk about paradigm anymore, or even philosophical tenets. Okay, what philosophy drives them into doing certain research? Let me see, pointer options. Okay, here you go, paradigm. Okay, and within that, based on each philosophical tenets, we have all these paradigms. Talk about logical positivism, post-positivism, social constructivism. These are all actually, sometimes we group these two together. Oh. Okay, never mind. So the two, we group them together. Okay, there you go. I did already we call it positivist social science, and then social constructivism is or some people call it interpretive science, social science. There you go. And these two, transformative and pragmatism, some scholars group them into one definition called critical social science, because the critical social science movement, I think it's derived based on this transformative and pragmatism paradigm, the way we look at something, the way we look at the world, the way we understand things. Okay, and each of them is being driven with the philosophical foundations, or the one that I've been mentioning earlier. Okay, ontology, epistemology. Ontology means is how many reality is there? Okay, positive social science said that only there's one absolute truth. One, and others can be others are not the truth. Okay, and maybe interpretive social science, maybe they look at multiple realities. Okay, same with the critical social science, for example. Epistemology, how do we know what we know? How do we learn what we learn? How do we know this research is exactly what it is? That is the knowledge. When we talk about epistemology, that's the foundation, that's the knowledge. So how do we know what we know? How do we know what we want to search about? Axiology is, it comes, this one, when we start talking about values. Okay, do you integrate values in the research, or values is something that you want to put it aside, or what you call separate it from your research? Methodology, I think if you can understand the rest, this is the most common thing that we always find in research. Okay, and this usually what drives our research, the methodology. First, people are going to say, okay, what is your research? Oh, I'm doing quantitative, I'm doing qualitative. You start straight with the design, with the method. Okay. Yeah, she agrees with me. Okay, so the rest, like 10 characteristics of research and the research process, they are also related in how things are. But this one, I think you will go through, this is just theory, you can experience this as we go. but those part, the definitions looks very trivial, but those are actually the one that we want to really understand before we venture into research. So the definition, some of the definitions that is related, that are related to research. We talk about science, we talk about theory. When we talk about research, we talk about the method, again, the methodology, but this time it's not any method, scientific methods. And then, of course, the inquiry part, you get the method, now you have to go and collect it or search for it, okay? Those actually are the backbones of the research. So science, I'm not going to venture it. It is established knowledge. It is something established. So we talk about science most of the time. We talk about physics, chemistry, biology. But oh yeah, here there's a pseudoscience versus real science. Okay, this is from Newman. You have this book, Research Methods, Newman. Okay, he also make a difference between junk science, real science, and then now, what about social science? Is social science a science? Are you trying to say something, or is just your mic is not muted? The internet seems acting up today. Yeah? Okay, is social science a science? Anybody with a chat? No, working chat. Because science, just now we define it as a body of knowledge. My goodness. And an established knowledge. So is social science a science? What is social science anyway? Am I making sense? My voice is clear. Is it not? It's just maybe you just okay, never mind. So yeah, so I'm sorry, Dr. Jelas. Okay, I testing my mic. I'm gonna ask somebody in China. Okay, Jumin, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, so if it
clear,
means no. Okay, I'm glad. So yeah, okay. Some might get me clear. Some might have some distorted. I understand distorted audio because of the internet. Okay, but don't worry, this is recorded. Okay. So is social science a science? Yes, I'm answering it. I'm asking the question and answering it. Yes, it is a science. Yeah, great. Oh, Madam Om, it's a human society. When you because science, chemistry, biology, physics, most of the time we don't deal with humans. Okay, and when it comes to social science, yes, it is a human society. The relationship between social relationship, yes, human society, the relationship, okay, how humans interact, and that's make it somewhat more actually demanding and complex, because we don't look at petri dish and try to see how a cell is moving, or what like virus will react with this antigen or antivirus and stuff. So those are humans are more complex. Okay, so it is a science, established science. It's just people tend to I need somebody to actually mute their mic, because let me just do it. Madam Nalini, could you please mute the mic? I'm trying to mute you, but I couldn't do that. And static coming up from your mic. Am I the only one listening this? Okay, better. Okay, so social science is the one that, it is a science, but people tend to same with the philosophical tenets. It's being the science, the pure science. Scientists always look at social science as something not science. Okay, but it is a science. Okay, so when we have a science, it means a body of established knowledge. When we establish means it supports by a theory. Okay, so now it comes to the definition of a theory. So theory here is a set of interrelated constructs. Okay, it's constructs means variables, or the one that you've been doing. So how these variables or constructs relate with it to each other. Okay, and then so how these relationships actually explain or predict a situation. Just now we said we are looking into human relationships, human relations, or human society. So what causes the certain humans to behave in certain ways, and how these variables are related. Some people think about it as a map here, and think of all the buildings as variables, and these variables, they are interconnected, because if, for example, if I want to say how to go from, this is UUM. You mean if you haven't been to UUM, this is the old map of UUM. Okay, from the I couldn't see, the guard post is here basically, and you will drive all the way, and you will see these two buildings first, the new building, and you keep going. Okay, the one must basically is kind of in the middle. This is in the middle of UUM, and we have more. We have the golf course, we have the deer farm, so it's pretty exciting. I hope you can come one day, okay, when things are getting better. But this is a map, and see, these buildings are actually the constructs. And in relation to these constructs means, in order to go to one construct to another, or one place to the other, means we talk about how we pass the other constructs, for example. So theory is, just a second. I'm sorry, can we take 5-minute break, please? 5
Okay,
minutes.
Doctor.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to pause the recording. Okay. So we talk about theories. Theories actually how the constructs in the one that we are interested in relate with each other, and usually we visualize it as a map. Okay, and usually map should be simple, should be consistent with what we observe, and sometimes it is tentative, means it is it can be changed, it can be improved, and of course it can be verified. It's verifiable. So there's nothing set in stone, but most of the time is if with established theory, or if it's really based on rigorous studies, then the theory should be a novel one. Like, it won't be changed easily. You cannot just simply change it. But as we go along with the time, then you'll definitely add more variables into it. Previously, we talked about pedagogical knowledge, content knowledge, but we did not really focus on technology part. Then comes the technology, then we make it as there's new theory or improved theory called TPAC. I think teachers should know about this theory by heart. Okay, so that's one example of how theory change. It can be changed. It clarifies thinking, extend understandings, because this one, when you have a theory or a map, it gives you the direction. Okay, this is actually the core, the core thing or the core aspects. When we want to learn about a phenomena, this theory explains this phenomena well. And when you look at the theory, it is some kind of like, it is simple, but it gives meaning. You say, okay, this is how things work and how it relates with each other and how they inform each other. Okay, and the most important thing, it has a critical role to advance knowledge. That's why we conduct research. We always base on a theoretical framework. Which theory you rely on or you base your study on. Okay, later we'll talk about theoretical framework. But theory is one of the backbones of the research. So social theory here is actually us to understand the social world, you know, to understand human interactions. So how the system connected or related to each other, okay, and how we can organize the system and to inform a phenomena, social phenomena. So these are all theories, and I have to say, I think none of them are actually talking about education and management theory, not yet in this list. Okay, but these are all educational theories. I think the one that at least most of you will be familiar with right now. So we have the Freud theory, you know, educational psychology. Students will know by heart. Erik Erikson, how human develop from birth to, until they pass away. And the motivation theory, this is the infamous theory of Deci and Ryan. Last time I remember, this is I'm not gonna go, but there's an attempt by in a journal that to improve a little bit of this theory, but I think they were hesitant. Deci and Ryan, both are the editors of the article, they were hesitant to receive that improvement because they said that it's not based on rigorous studies. So because they already form an established theory that they've been studying and longitudinal in a long period of time. So suddenly when one new author wanted to change or say that they're going to improve, so what do you call? They kind of like hesitant. They were hesitant to accept that improvement. Okay. Theory of instruction, we're talking about the Bruner's theory, okay, and so on. And this, I think you probably get them. Okay. So learning theories. As teachers, most of you are teachers, at some point in your career. Learning theories, this I think is a good representation of all the learning theories exist so far. And for more information, you can see Connolly et al. I can give you this paper. This is actually how this guy, actually the folks, the researchers, a couple of them, Connolly et al. I think hopefully I pronounced his name right. Relate all these theories to online learning. So now online learning is the way to move forward. Right now, but learning theories are still relevant in every step or in every aspect of online learning. There's always, like, you have to relate to behaviorism or cognitive part. The infamous Bloom and Anderson, now the revised one, the Piaget, talking about how the way we should think, the schema, okay, how we relate to previous experience or previous knowledge, okay, and has come up with the Bloom taxonomy, where we start with first we remember, and then based on the facts that we remember, we understand, and so on. Those are the theories that the taxonomy is actually a theory, but that's very, very common. Constructivism, people start thinking, okay, we start with students do a lot of activities. When they do a lot of activities, they self-teach or self-direct. Yeah, yourself. I mean, they're learning. So this one to improve engagement. Okay, but teachers have to design it well. So when you say, okay, this is my study is based on constructivism theory, and you have to show how students can self-direct, what teachers do as facilitators. Okay, because it's not only about learners, it's all about what the teacher's role as well. Okay, and favor hands-on, and that's why as we move forward, we move to constructivism. Okay, instead of memorizing all these things, now we want to build. Of course, cognitive and constructivism, they are related. And then there comes the behaviorism, when okay, now we have to do the self-directed activities, they need reward, or they need punishment. Okay, so there's a try and error, a stimulus, and if you notice Skinner, the dog with the bell, and the meat, I think. Okay, those are very old. Here we are not talking about, I'm not teaching you theories, but I'm telling you these are the theories, learning theories available, and how things related. They are actually, the theories can be connected to each other too. Okay, and this is not the what do you call it, the most used one nowadays, Vygotsky, activity based. And some people say, okay, Vygotsky and constructivism, they are actually closer, but when we talk about Vygotsky, this is more like you give guidance, because there's a ZPD, zone of proximal development, because teachers guide and then let them do based on the guide, teachers the role model, and then as soon that learner goes into certain stage or zone, then they start doing it, then they are self-directed. This one experiential, again, this Vygotsky again, socially, some people call it social cultural theory. Okay, humanistic. Okay, and this one experiential, that's the one here, the experiential, Dewey and Koch. When we talk about experiential, these two scholars, you have to cite them when you say that I'm using this theory. Okay, and Dewey and Koch definitely should be there as a seminal paper. Seminal means that's the key paper that you see, the founding father, we call it. So here, look at the way they map it. Okay, they have in order to make it like useful or students to experience things, these are the cycle that they have, students need to undergo. They have to have concrete experience, and based on that, they start to observe, and then they make a reflection about it, and based on the reflection, they start to conceptualize things, and then keep doing the experiment, keep experimenting again, and the cycle continues. This is simpler, I think. First, they have to plan, then they do, then they review, improve. If you notice, at school, I think a lot of things related to action research. It's similar. Okay, more theory here. This is Brunner, the learning just now, the instructional theory, Brunner. So how different stage learn. So when you are doing for secondary school, elementary maybe, or even pre-K, kindergarten students, look at this. Okay, at the university, this is the approach that you want to focus in, or the stage in instructional theory. Okay, so they start doing symbolic and stuff. Okay, but if you are using teachers or pengetua or principals, so at what point? But definitely you're not going to use theory of instruction unless you're saying that in your leadership, if it's instructional, you have to relate to Jerome Brunner. I think one of you are doing instructional, right? Instructional leadership. So see how, I'm not saying that you have to include this, but see how Jerome Brunner's theory is related to your research. This is the Desi and Ryan just now. This is their theory, and then somebody is adding one more because it says that theory is verifiable and tentative, but some theories are kind of set in stone. Basically, they've been doing it a lot, The only thing maybe, you know, they do not maybe consider different culture, but this is what they say. Human in general, the motivation is like this. Okay, this is how we understand. First, without no motivation, then you have something to push it, external motivation, something outside. You know, you get pay, increase in pay, you know, increase in what do you call, your standing in the society. Okay, that's the external motivation. Then later, oh, I want to do it. I'm already retired. I want to do things, you know, that still, you know, make me happy. So there comes the intrinsic motivation. Again, this is that PD parenting styles. I think you can relate to parenting styles. It started with 3. Bombrain started with these 3 only: authoritarian, permissive, democratic, and then McCoby and Martin start to add the uninvolved. 1983, when, you know, maybe relate to feminism, feminist movement, you know, when women are starting to work, then there comes uninvolved parenting. Or maybe they're talking about how men becoming so detached. So, you know, we have to look at it. So I'm just giving examples, or, you know, hypothetically. So things expand. Okay, from 3 to 4, and maybe later there's more. This is the TPAC. You know, previously only pedagogical and content knowledge. Now they talk about technology. Teachers have to be well versed with technology. Okay. This is game. Last time I had a lot of IT students, so they are interested into educational IT, how to incorporate gamification in learning and stuff. So when you want to have game, you have to understand how things work. You have to make sure the content is there for the true content, like the syllabus, and then you have to see what game is suitable, you know, to inform that what you call teaching or content. Same. This is when you start to use the accessibility, can learn to access it. You have to see local factors, internet. Even we as postgraduate students at university level, you know, still what do you call it, struggle with internet connectivity. So imagine those in the, you know, rural areas, orang asli. Okay, so those are the things that they have to consider. And this one, yeah, holistic e-learning. How to, what component to ensure whole e-learning being done comprehensively. And this is my favorite. I used this in my dissertation a little bit. So I talk about communicative language ability. I think this one might be related to Tobias and Isha's research, because now it's all about task-based. Previously, communication is just one-sided. Okay, and to ensure that students can use language, they have to communicate. But in order to communicate, they have to know they have to have language competence. They have to have the knowledge structure. Means they have to know what important components in the language. Then they have to use it strategically. Where is it? Is it pasar malam, or pasar malam night market, or we call it in as, you know, social interaction, or is it an academic, more formal situation? What strategy they're gonna use? What's the eye contact? You know, so they have to know the psychological mechanisms and the context. Where is it? Is it in the world with the third, you know, of English is in a, what do you call it, as a foreign language, a third language, or even or is it official language if we use English, or not even English, any language that we learn? But Bachman focused on English, definitely. And then later he said, okay, this is actually ability. We put them in a circle that represent brain. One brain. So this is in 1996, how it develops. In 1990, he was writing it by himself. In 1996, he start, you know, incorporating Palmer's work. Okay, and this one they talk about target language use domain. What's the domain they're going to use? Is it business domain? Is it like a more engineering domain? That's why they start having English for specific purposes. Okay, and later they said because we want it to communicate, it's a communicative ability. We need two people interacting with each other. Okay, one person is not an interaction. There's no communication. Okay, so that's okay. They start focusing on reciprocal language use. Okay, where there's an input, output, and how people process it. And now they also affective schemata is there. Affective means emotion. You know, mad, angry. So the tone, right? Like how Chinese have different tones, like ma, five different pronunciation means different things, mama, and I don't know. Maybe Jumin can teach us later in WhatsApp. Okay, so that's how my point is actually theories evolve, or this one is more like a framework, theories, models. Basically, you know, they kind of dictate the same thing, similar stuff. Okay, just to be careful about the usage. Okay, and here, remember the language knowledge. This one part. The one that I'm coloring a lot here now. Now they're actually expanding it. In order, language knowledge consists of organizational knowledge, pragmatic knowledge, and okay, organizational means the way you use grammar, vocabulary, syntax, you know, how you use the words, you know, how you write it, how you pronounce it, everything. So now you have everything under the sky. I mean, it goes deeper. Even based on this, you can even come up with one research based on the language knowledge in that Bachman and Palmer. Okay. And this one is 1990. Bachman at this point, he actually listed it like this, you know, but then in 1996 and 2000, he started doing like, you know, like bullet point. Why? Why did he start doing bullet point? Anybody has an idea? Instead of doing this infographic, he's just doing like in terms of bullet point. Okay, I'm assuming you know, it's just going to be cumbersome to talk and with the internet. So it's actually because this representation seems like hierarchy. Means to have in order to have organizational knowledge, you have to have grammatical knowledge and textual knowledge, and pragmatic knowledge. You know, you have to have functional knowledge and social linguistic. That's not what he meant. He just want to show that okay, we classify them. Okay, but some people think it's hierarchy, so he changed the representation. See, even the representation changed across time. This is the bigger picture of language, all language, because I told you my TESOL, my minor was TESOL, but then at that point also my supervisor is also from the language testing, the president of Language Testing Association, Professor Micheline Shellhope Deville. So I will also incorporate in my measurement framework, I mean, my measurement research, that's the language proficiency models and framework. We see how things are. So yeah, at the point I understand CFR and how we move from, you know, from knowledge only to Delheim's, when we have to incorporate social phenomenon, and then later this one, communication, the task, but then CFR, now it's all about what students can do instead of what students know. CFR has a lot of criticism too, but that's what we are going forward with in Malaysia. And I also choose look at different testing. This is Chinese CET, SET, I think Chinese English test for the speaking test. And then I'm comparing Chinese speaking test to MUET and an IELTS. And I'm ticking everything based on, this is my perspective as a student, as a graduate student. So we come up with this whole idea. And in a way, this is actually, you do literature review. I'm not asking you to do this like crazy, like, you know, super rigorous, but at some point you have to be able to synthesize. If you said that transformational leadership, how many have been doing, who started it? Has it been transformed? Or maybe previously people start with authoritarian leadership, and why people start with the transformational leadership? for example. Okay, and you can show here. Then if you can show at least the progression, or how many people synthesis, like how many people have been talking about the same thing, then that's a synthesis. That's a literature review. That's why I'm asking. 10 articles is like, it's nothing. I know you you will delve more and more. Okay, for master, maybe that's a good start. Okay, but for PhD, if you're saying that, okay, this is based on this 10 article, you are actually forming your research, people are gonna laugh. Okay, I'm talking about Kak Baya, Nisha, and also Jumin. And of course, Ain, master by research, is also crucial about how many you read, how much you have read. Okay, how many articles you read. Okay, this is again language, all about language. I'm gonna cut through. I think those management theory, maybe education and management theory. Okay, I have to say that from now on, whatever this one from my last semester student, he's the one that from matriculation college in Malaysia. He's actually the head of department, ketua jabatan, and he's interested in doing a research on middle leaders. Middle leaders means not the president or the director, but the head of department, unit department, what do you call it? Ketua unit, what do you call? Head of unit, right? Head of unit, all coordinators, okay? Those are middle leaders. So he wants to see what strategic management strategies that these middle leaders use to ensure strategic implementation. I think because we have strategic plan and then the implementation. Planning is one thing, how to implement is another thing. Okay, so he actually incorporate a couple of theories. I just heard about it, and Jumin mine about it, because these are all in Malay, but I have this in English here. So if you're interested, you can look at this: resource-based theory, positional theory. I read about it a little bit. Positional theory versus personal theory. Okay, positional theory, how is it? Is it more autocratic? Personal theory, they said like it's more like an empathetic approach of leaders. Ni who's guru besar here? I know Madam Gita is one, but she's not here. Madam Gita, what type of leadership are you exercising right now at school? Positional theory or personal theory? Personal theory means you also do the job in addition to exercise or mandate or order, instruct your teachers. Okay, so which one? So he uses this. You have to be autocratic to get the job done. That's what he's saying. And CATS, competency model. This is competency model for leaders. Remember the knowledge competency just now? Same. So in order to be competent, you have to have management skill. Kemahiran pengurusan is management skill. So here, the top management, what they need, technical is the least, because the rest you can ask the middle management do it. Supervisory management, maybe they don't have to really understand, but the middle management or the middle leaders, they need to do everything. Okay, they need to manage from technical, human, and conceptual. And then conceptual, these are the things that they need. They have to do strategic thinking, decision making, creative thinking, all this conceptual. Okay, when it comes to technical, they have to do implementation. They need to know how to manage financial. They need to know how to manage meeting. They need to see how to do the performance appraisal. Okay, using computers. Those are technical competency from for middle leaders. Okay, but top management, they're not required as much. That's what the theory is saying. Same. And then last one is human factor or human skills. You need to know how to communicate, how to delegate, how to motivate, how to manage conflict, how to coordinate, how to control. This is actually social science. And you are dealing with a lot of people in your department, and how you're going to do this, and what strategy is going to use. That's why they said that there are not many leadership theories. They keep on repeating the same thing, but which one works best for your department? And you decide, and you give what theory actually you are using. This one, strategic management, okay, from Whelan and Hunger. Start with the environment. You have to, explore the environment or scan. Call it pengimbasan means scanning the environment. Okay, and then you formulate the strategy. So this one, everything with the to be verified means, this is straightly from his proposal defense, and I think it's really interesting. But actually later when he revised his proposal defense, he actually marry everything in one. Now it's more like, separate theories. Then later he marry everything from cats to this RBV and position theory, how things are related to each other, how these theories are integrated. Remember the learning theories, how things are integrated? We cannot look at them as a separate entities, especially when you use it in your research, because these theories should work together. If you are saying that, okay, I have 5 theories, informing my research, then you have to explain. You cannot explain them separately. Then you're just explaining them. You are teaching the theories. We in research, we are not interested. They already know, especially the expert or examiners or lecturers, even your supervisors, they know already what this theory is about, but they want to know how they inform each other. Okay, we'll talk about it when we talk about theoretical framework, but this is what your task next. Okay, in addition to your assignment 2. Assignment 2, you have to actually do the problem statement, so don't do that again. Don't do that yet, assignment 1, because we haven't gone. Hopefully next week you can start the assignment 2. Assignment 1 is your reading list, sorry, assignment 2. But right now, start thinking about your theoretical framework. In your reading list, are there theoretical framework provided by the articles? What theories they use in the articles that you already put in your reading list? Think about that. Okay. See, here, think of a theory, a model, a framework that relates to or helps explain your research topic. You can use any combination of relevant theory or model. You can use one, you can use combination. This one also in Malaysia is so funny. It's not a criticism, it's just an opinion. In Malaysia, it's like saying project paper, you can have one theory. You can use only one theory or two. That's good enough. 1 or 2. 1 plus 1. Okay. But for dissertation, maybe start with 3 or more. For master by research, start thinking 3 or more, and plus, the variables, more variables, complex. Okay. For PhD, if you can get more theories to be integrated, it'd be great. But usually they will look at your variables, how complex your variable is. Okay, the conceptual framework in the end. So this is just the quantitative understanding of some examiners. I said some, not all. Okay, but the idea is there. You have to be rigorous. It's okay when you don't want to do something that most people are doing anyway, because PhD is about how you construct knowledge and stuff. So that's why they want you to push deeper. For me, it's not really necessary how many theories that you can integrate, but how rigorous or novel your study is to understanding social phenomena. That's my takeaway from that. Okay, Madam Nila is chatting. Teori yang dapat dilihat dalam 10 artikel yang kami dapatkah? Yeah, if possible. If possible, Madam Nila, if you can look at the choice of your articles now, and I told you when I give that assignment 1, your 10 articles will definitely, expand. So right now, look at the 10 articles. If you select them right the first time, you'll definitely see, within the articles, they also said these are the theories that actually drive our research. Okay, so what theories did they mention in the article? Okay, Madam Nila, teori apa yang mereka guna dalam setiap artikel mereka itu? Jadi, then if you are doing your job right, or rigorously, you can see the pattern. Maybe article 1, 2, 3 talk about the same theory, transformational theory, or what do you call it? Sustainable leadership theory, for example. Okay, kalau semua artikel guna teori sama, means that's good. Means you are researching the right theory, and you're gonna be fine. Means you're gonna say, okay, 10 articles, cite them. A, B, C, D, from 1990 until 2020, all been using the same. So this theory is not obsolete yet. We still is no, it's still relevant. Okay, Madam Puma?
Yeah, doctor. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so means you're doing, when you did the research, the reading list means you're doing the great job. Means you are searching, or you are really searching for, like, you know, that specific one. But we want to make sure, like, that's why I said, if possible, try to make it recent, because we want to be as recent as possible. 2016 to 20, if possible. But then all theories are not obsolete, you know, at all too. We're still using the COLT, the experiential theory, the Vygotsky 1976, you know, no problem. But then those are the theories. But then are there any studies that using their theory? Means usually you'll see the citation, the H index. If people keep citing this, their work, their theories, means you're on the right track. Okay. This one, yeah, if we have time later, maybe the proposed defense, definitely you have to make sure when we have the proposed defense assignment, when you have to present your studies, the 3 chapters, planning, you have to tell why you are using this theory, why are you using that theory, why you are using transformational leadership theory, why, like, what studies have shown that is effective. Okay, I'm using the positional theory because we need an autocratic leaders, not autocratic, authoritarian. You know, it's firm, fun, but, you know, he makes sure, or she makes sure that, you know, the job gets done. Okay, that's theory. And now we talk about method. Okay, this one, then that's the one that we talk about, you know, quantitative, qualitative, mixed method. It's normal. Okay, we're gonna skip that. Okay, this one we go search inquiry means, you know, you search, you use scientific methods, data collection, analysis, interpretation. That's why I might also ask, if you know this, my template, if you are using my template, and it's not compulsory, I told you, okay? If you're using my reading list template, I will ask, what are your research questions and how you plan to answer it? Means, you know, if you have any idea, look, once you read, you'll see how people are doing it. Most people in strategic educational management are using quantitative. Why? Then you'll see, okay, the pattern quantitative, then you do quantitative. Unless you say, okay, I'm gonna go be ambitious because I'm doing a PhD in educational management. I'm gonna add qualitative. And I'm gonna come work as SOE because nobody's in educational management, you know, kind of like doing qualitative or expert in qualitative. Or maybe they have done the job, but they never, you know, venture qualitative seriously. Just, you know, just saying. Okay, now research. Research, we talk about this. And by the way, you notice I've been using Wikipedia. This is just to show, you know, it's been there. But in your own study, try to avoid using Wikipedia. You're gonna be in big trouble. And early also, when I what do you call? When I did this part, I think. This card. I think when I showed you the meaning of science, I see. Just want to show that, you know, Wikipedia, different years of Wikipedia. That's in a way showing how to do literature review. When you see, I retrieved this in 2017. Wikipedia defined research as endeavor, and then in 2019, the term is an enterprise. But, you know, it's just to show you the literature review, but it doesn't mean that you can use Wikipedia as your source. Okay, but since it's a very well-known term, Wikipedia is not a sin. Okay, but of course you should look at the other scholarly textbook and stuff. So just to give you a heads up about that. Okay, so what's the time now? 10:40. I think we're gonna stop before we move to paradigm. But paradigm basically is just the worldview. It's always under what do you call it? It's not overlooked. It's underlooked, actually, undermined. Okay, but in research, actually a good research will definitely consider research paradigm. Okay, how you look at the world, blue lens or the red lens. Okay, methods of knowing, how you know what you know, basically, or related to epistemology, the worldview. Okay, this was the one that we said, logical positivism. We'll see if we can go back this next week, but what I want you to focus now is the theory, and if you have time, skim through the paradigms. And these are the actually, the points from Creswell. What does it mean? Okay, and how the classification of paradigm based on philosophical questions or philosophical tenets. This is ontology. What does it mean, ontology? What is the nature of reality? Single reality or multiple reality? What is true? The only one absolute truth, or there's another one can be accepted? Some people think that, there are only one. Some people think they have multiple socially constructed realities. Okay. Epistemology, how do you know what do you know? What is the nature of knowledge? Okay, means where did you get the idea? Basically, what's the concept? The content, basically. Okay, axiology. Is there any ethical consideration or values? Do you consider marginalized culture, marginalized population, or you only talk about the rich and the powerful or the mainstream? Okay, how do you go about finding it? Finding it out. This is the method. I told you, how do you obtain the knowledge? Survey, interview, observation. And I would like to caution you about observation. Now, especially if you are requesting data from EPRD in the ERAS system. This I'm talking about Malaysian schools, okay, Jumin? Maybe not gonna, apply to you. But those who are actually going to school, and if you don't have network, I know you're smart in having network kawan members helping you with the data, but if you need approval from EPRD, especially schools with guru besar who is actually very strict and follow positional, okay, you might need a letter from EPRD, and EPRD said no observation can be done anymore in the classroom. Okay, so we need to think about that. Okay, I know Kabaya and Anisha's study, we talk about using observation. So now we have to strategize. Okay, later. If Ain is going to school, observation, I think Prof. Rosna knows, observation cannot be done, especially now they are very particular, you cannot videotape anything, and you have to go only for class, the one that bukan peperiksaan, means not the one that gonna sit for exam like Form 3 and Form 5. Okay, so you're going for secondary school. So those are the things that you have to consider right now. Okay,
Doctor,
and this is how things, who is that? Okay, Pupa, Madam Pupa, go ahead. Sorry. I'm looking. Okay.
Okay, is this due to the pandemic, or is it temporarily, or is actually a new instruction by EPRD that we cannot have observation during research?
Okay, it's basically the new guideline. When I go to the
new
system,
guideline?
the new guideline for EPRD, when you get the approval, you cannot go with the observation, whatever reason it is, unless you want to observe, but you cannot state it. In your application, you have to give your instrument, what question you want to ask. I'll share with you some of the,
The guidelines.
The guidelines, and also the work that I did. I did apply for EPRD application to apply because our funder wants to see that, that we, for signs of good faith, that we have that letter. So we did, and like they keep asking, like, we have that word observe in our proposal, but it's not like observing students. You want to observe the phenomena or something, but it's flat.
Observe the activities in the classroom. We are not directly.
That's not allowed according to them.
Okay, but if we do have permission from the principals or the headmasters, but we cannot state it. We cannot state it in the
proposal.
In the paper, in proposal. Okay.
Yeah, to EPRD.
Okay.
Or else you won't get that approval. And everything's online now, 5 business days. Especially project paper, if your supervisor asks you to go apply for EPRD approval, then you have to make sure your proposal, it has to be simple, not like lengthy as possible, and make sure it makes sense. You have to provide instrument. And adalah we have pengesahan from school SOE and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Baya and Misha, because I'm the supervisor.
Yeah.
So we'll strategize. I'm professional knows about this. Jumin, I'm not sure who's your supervisor, but you're not going to Malaysia, so it's okay. Unless you're going to use Malaysian's data or going to school, then you have to think about EPRD. And the rest, if you have network, you are asking teachers. I'm not sure how the principals feel about that. But yeah, if you think you're not allowed and you don't want the hassle, maybe you start thinking about your sampling.
Yeah.
Okay, don't simply say I'm doing random sampling. No, random sampling is not random when you really have to choose. Okay, you have to just say I'm using convenient sampling. Don't shy away from that. But just convenient sampling and quantitative, they don't marry that well.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
We talk about the method. Okay, this is a research paradigm, how they cross basically. So every paradigms, they have the philosophical foundation driving it. First, how you check the nature of reality at the, when you use post-positivism, remember? At the end, we collapse them into 3 groups, the paradigms, and how you are looking at when it's constructivism and when it's critical, how you see the reality. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. It's gonna be very demanding, but you read first. If you don't read, it's gonna be very overwhelming. Okay, go through this slides, and basically there are actually the approaches are different ways of looking at the world. Okay, but they are actually saying the same thing. Means what's the time now? This one using this quicksand clock, this one using the analog, this one using digital. Okay, so we are all trying to say the same thing, but you have to understand. That's why it's being overlooked, but it's still important. When you understand those philosophical tenets drive the what philosophical questions that drive the paradigms, I think in a way it start bringing you back to reality. Okay, this is too much, this is we don't need this, or yes, we have to include this. Those are the decisions that you'll make when you consider the paradigms and the philosophical questions. Okay, this one, last time I remember Madam Puva asked me in the template, what's paradigm or research question? So basically this is the paradigm. If you if you are actually looking at the paradigm, but I don't know, I don't want to cut my finger whatsoever, that kind of bad, but I think most articles nowadays, they forget to look at paradigms. So, or you might actually imply, it's implied in the paper, okay, because we're using quantitative, and this is the only thing that the best drive to inform our data is this one source of data only. Then definitely is a post-positivist paradigm. Okay, so it means only one way, because now research, I think they still want to look at, I think most research articles now, they trying to shy away from only one. They want to see at least two or three sources of data, so multiple realities there. So the ontology part is no is no more like positivist or post-positivist. And this is the characteristics of research. Okay, what's the time now? It's 10:50. Okay, good. We're gonna stop at 11. So this 10, it might be 10 for some, it might be 5 for some, it might be like more for some, for others. Okay, so let's start with problem. This is the one that I asked you to think about the problem, or why, the reason why you want to do this. It's always relate to the problem. Okay, the research questions, and then here, research requires that researcher to develop a thorough understanding of the phenomena. That's why you are doing reading list ahead of time. Okay, the first assignment, reading list, means I want you to read and understand what's going on with your topic. Okay, then you have that kind of confidence to move further with your research goal. What's the purpose? the purpose should be based on the problem too, related. And these two are related to number 2. Number 1 and number 3 are related to number 2 again. Okay, so basically you start with number 1 in the first class, and then I ask number 2 and 3. Number 2 basically ongoing. Number 3 is actually when you did yesterday last time, the title. Usually that's the title will drive the goal, or will guide the goal or the purpose. Okay, or it should be the other way around, but most of the time we start with the title just to have that kind of understanding. When you want to do this, how you want to write, how you want to frame your goal, how you want to frame your research question, basically. So here, guided by the research question, based on the goal, based on the problem. Research is based on tests and tests. Research is based on and tests certain assumptions of hypothesis. This one, hypothesis means educated guesses, usually quantitative. There is a significant relationship, especially those yang buat hubungan means relationship between this and that. You definitely have like significant relationship or significant difference, you know. That's what you guess. Then later you're going to accept or reject, or fail to reject, fail to accept. Then later when you confirm, okay? Especially those, I think most of you in the education and management, you are in the 4th semester, you already took quantitative stats, so you know how things are with the hypothesis. So research requires an explicit plan of procedure. Now this is the 3 chapters. When you have everything, the green one, these are actually planning. Then the pink one, the 4 and 5, chapter 4 and 5. Okay, collection of interpretation of data. Basically, this is, you know, your a little bit of chapter 3, chapter 4, interpretation of data, chapter 4, and then conclusion and how you make meaning of those whatever you got, chapter 5. Chapter 5 and a little bit of interpretation, you have to give discussions, suggestion, implication for practitioners, what you did not do, why, the limitations. So all of these are in number 9. And then later, research is by natural helical, while addressing a question, research generates new questions. You cannot solve all the problems under the sky. Just know that. Okay. So if we look at this, just now this one from Leedy and this one from Macmillan and Schumacher. You don't have the book, but I think all research methodology textbook mentioned this somehow, maybe not in this particular diagram, but the idea is there. So that's the 3 parts. When you identify problem, review related information, basically conduct literature review, do the reading list, understand, go back and check, okay, this is good enough to inform, to you know, to support my problem, my question, okay, to come up with a some kind of like a question, and I can hypothesize something based on this, and then these are all my design, who's going to be there in my studies, what will be the measures that I'm interested in, how to achieve the measures, okay, what intervention if necessary. Okay, so these are the 3 things, and then the rest are actually the operational. Planning in green, operational means you start doing things, you know. Sometimes you plan something else, you figure out later you cannot do things, you have to replan. It's normal, it's a part of research. Yeah, don't feel sad, okay, but you have a time, you have frame and everything. I'm kind of like confident to say that if you manage your time, planning properly, and you work, you know, consistently, no matter how many times you have to change, you'll find something out. You'll work on, you know, you work things out, inshallah. Okay, and there you go back, repeat. Okay, so recap. This is what we did. We talk about science, theories and stuff in there, scientific inquiry, scientific methods and stuff. And then we talk about the paradigm briefly, because we talk about theories a lot, because that's what should be, you know, should you start I mean, you should start thinking of your theories from now on. Actually, when you did the reading list, I hope you already said, I remember that. That's why Madam Puva can say all articles say the same theory. Okay, you're great. You're doing great. So on the right track. Okay, if your articles are saying this one is using this one is using that. So now take a step back when you're doing this, what you want to focus on. Okay, assessment. If you are doing assessment, school-based assessment, are you looking at TPAC or you're looking at the formative summative assessment or the task-based language assessment, for example? If you're using the 5 Cs, this is Ein. Think about the 5 Cs model or the I couldn't remember the PCYD, something like that. Okay, and Jumin, contextual. You said the cultivation of communication something. So what communication theories are you using in the context of education, or is it not in the context of education? You have to decide. Okay, I'm going to talk to Jumin more later. So if the rest of you have any questions, you can stay back, but maybe Jumin can stay back. And I think that's it. It's a wrap up for this lecture. Feel free to leave. Okay. Jumin, let me know if it's okay for you to stay or you prefer to chat on WhatsApp. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.